Welcome to my solo interchange strategy guide. Today I'll share what's helped me navigate one of the most complex maps in Tarkov so that you can not only find loot but also make it out alive. Interchange is known for being one of the most brutal maps, highly favoring teams, but when played right, a solo player can still find great success. Keep in mind this map has way more loot than I can cover. You're free to branch out and explore, but this will hopefully give you a solid foundation to work from. So before we jump into a live raid, let's take a look at the recommended loadout. The AKM is by far my most used gun in Tarkov, and it's what I'm going to recommend here. It has full auto capability and fires one of the cheapest and most accessible armor-piercing rounds in the game, 7.62 BP. The gun starts out super cheap and it can be effective with just a few mods, but later on it can also be fully modded to compete with the late game meta. Definitely level up your traders if you haven't, because you'll gain access to that cheaper ammo and also cheaper attachments, which is just super helpful. Using solid ammunition in Tarkov is one of the most important things in the game, and in my experience the AKM has always been the best bang for the buck. As for armor and bag space, just use whatever you can afford or find. I prefer to run budget level 4 armor or rigs, and I'll typically only wear a helmet that I find in a raid. Alright, with all that out of the way, we're going to actually load into a live raid with real threat, and we'll start the guide. Alright, so we spawned in Interchange. We have the Emercom extract spawn. We're going to start off by painkilling so we don't get caught out in the open and crippled. It's very important for early spawn. You have players on your left and right always. No matter where you spawn, you're always going to have guys on your sides. Sometimes you'll see them, sometimes you won't. Sometimes people will hold your spawn with like a scope. So you got to kind of move fast, zigzag, so you don't get headshot. And just check your left and right and push in as fast as you can. I'll give you guys a warning that there will be a lot of cuts and like fast forwarding just to make the video as short as possible, because I don't want to sit here for 30 minutes. I hope you guys don't mind that. Make sure my laser's on. Better hip fire accuracy. Sometimes you have a guy down on the right on the road. Alright, so we're now at the back of Ollie. Ollie has really solid loot in the back of this store, so we're going to swipe that up as fast as possible. Just kind of glance at these shelves as you walk by to see if there's any gas tanks or anything like that on them. You also have car batteries in these crates, and things can be on the bottom of these shelves. Alright, so this is the main part of Ollie. You're going to come to the left and just hug the back here. This is one of the most dangerous parts of the run, because you'll have people looting in the back of the store with you as well sometimes. So move quick. I would recommend just looting the back part. I wouldn't move up because you expose yourself to too many angles and you're going to be in the store for too long. We're just going to check the back really quickly and run through. So eyes peeled for players, and we're just cleaning the back shelves as fast as we can. Alright, once you've reached this corner of Ollie, this is one of the best spots to loot. You have a lot of rare loot on these shelves just at the bottom of them, like here. Gas tanks are worth probably the most in this store. Also water filters. Come up here, you have loot that can spawn here on the front. And we also have this circular computer station here. 2 computers at each. There's more computers like this in Ollie, but they're just a bit too exposed. I don't think they're worth looting. The ones I'm talking about are like this right here. You have more computers right here. There's a little office circle, but since it's out in the open, I wouldn't check it. This is a really nice angle if you want to just hold this hall here. This is the tech hallway. You have tech stores all along it right there, to the right and left, and up the escalator. So a lot of people pass through here. We're not going to go there since we're solo and it's way too dangerous, but you can hold it from here if you'd like. Once you've hit this corner, you can come back here and we have more offices. To the left at the fire here, we have a bag. And under the step, you have a weapon box. I went ahead and put the hollow sight on since we're now in the office hallways. I usually like to play with the close range sight for this. We're going to be in a lot of hallways like this with offices because they're much safer as a solo player. You have like hardly any angles to worry about, and you can deal with multiple players much easier. It's more controlled. A lot of players also just don't travel through these hallways, so you can safely get a lot of loot. Here's an office in this room, and with the power of editing, it is looted. So here's what we got. We actually ended up with a graphics card, and I'm hearing shots out in front of Ollie, so we're gonna have to be careful now. So once you've hit this office, you're gonna come back out. And out this door is the front of Ollie here. We have this office area we're gonna loot, but first we're gonna check for any enemies down on the left. Yep. We got a guy sprinting. and he's coming up here to loot this. This is where we just came from and looted this corner here. We can let him run by and we should have a free kill. We're in a nice corner here, can't really be flanked, so this is a nice spot to hold if we do hear someone like this. He stopped moving, so I'm going to push up. So we're just going to creep up, and he shouldn't hear us as long as we don't ADS. Reload and make sure he doesn't have a teammate. I'm just going to be aggro now that we're exposed. Seems like he's solo. He has a pilgrim, but that's a little too big for me. I like the low profile of my bag, so we're going to keep what I have. Alright, we'll fall back to where we were earlier. I'll show you this next office. Come in here, you have, I think, 3 or 4 doors. You have the first one here. There's 1 computer per door, so loot that computer. Come to the next door. Loot this computer. Also, check the back shelves for loot. Come to the next door. You need a key for this. Loot the computer and check back shelves for loot. And then one last door here, which you also need a key for. Once again, just loot the computer and check shelves for loot. Leaving the last room, you come out this door. Be careful of this angle here. And the steps here. Listen for anyone coming up that. And to the right, out front, you have 1 computer here and 1 computer here. It's just 2 computers. This whole office netted me this loot. So not much, but sometimes you'll get more. It's not much, but all this stuff is going to add up. So once you've hit this, we're going to move down the steps into the garage. Careful of your angles here, out front. Zigzag, try to be fast, and let's head down. Yep, there you go. So that angle that I was looking at out there, it's the reason we're not going to go that way, because there's just a million angles and people camp it. So come to the garage, and we're just going to cross over to here diagonally. Watch for scavs, and sometimes players will be here, but usually it's clear except for early game. Early game, people will rotate through here, but after that, it's pretty easy to navigate. So once you come around to the right here, you do have a extract there, so be careful of anyone that might be moving to there. And we have this escalator here, and there's actually a team above me, so I'm just gonna listen for a second, figure out what they're doing. Okay, so he's in the furniture store. I'm gonna drop my bag and sneak up here. I think there's 2. One's in the hallway here and one's at the furniture store. You're gonna be looking at the hallway and the store when you... So he had an interesting angle I could not see at all. Fall back to here and use this cover. So typically I would go up that escalator. Is that a flashlight? The fuck? Is that just always on, or is there a dude with a flashlight? Okay, so they're gonna push out here. I'll peek in a sec. We killed 1. We gotta look for the second now. Go ahead and push. Ate him out of the back of the escalator. He's definitely dead. He has nowhere to go. Yeah, okay, so there's a double kill. Nice. And there's a third. Alright, so I've healed up and we're just holding the escalator now. Oh, I just saw a player at the car here. Okay, so I've been pinched. I'm gonna move left. Fall back. Get away from the pinch. Swap to our scope. Hop off this mag. If I had a scope for that guy I missed, he would have been dead. We're gonna heal up our arms. Alright, we're now gonna peek escalator now that we're healed up. I believe he jumped down there. We heard him. Alright. One dead. We have one left. He's last spotted out here. Heard a fifth? How many are there? Armor 0, so you just gotta move very carefully. So using this hole that I was able to back up to, we can pretty much avoid being flanked and just take these guys one-on-one as like a 1v1. Damn it. He went up the escalator. Alright, I'm gonna swap to hollow and push this guy. So these guys have disappeared, so we're gonna push escalator and see if they're camping it. Go ahead and loot these guys. Alright, so I finished looting these guys. It seems like the teammates just straight up ran away. I have a metric crap ton of loot. I now have Alton and Gen 4. So I'm gonna go ahead and bank all this stuff, and then I'll be back at this exact spot on a fresh raid. And I'll show you guys where else we can go. Why is there a dude running by me? Oh my god, this fully geared guy just is running to the extract.
Waited too long on accident. I was
No,
busy
no,
doing
hold up.
something.
Is that a player? God damn it. Oh my god. I just one-tapped him. We have 4 minutes left and I just got extra camped.
Let's go.
Alright, so we got halfway through the loot run and I ended up running into a team and we got 4 kills and I just had to book it to the extract. A lot of the times you're not going to run into teams like this. It'll be more chill from my experience. So if that's the case, then you're going to continue the loot run and I'll show you where that'll be. Alright, here's our loot for that run. We also got the graphics card. We're back at the escalator we were talking about. And this is early spawn. Let's see. It's 42, so we've been here for like, what, 3 minutes? This guy was just running through. I'm not sure where he was going. Pretty odd to see this, but alright. Free kill. And looting him, I just realized we forgot armor. So I'm going to go ahead and equip his rig and put the black rock in my backpack. Alright, so the Ollie steps that we went down are just over there. And you're going to run diagonally through the garage. Near the hole. And you'll have this escalator here, and this is what I'm usually going to go up. And a lot of times you won't have too much action. You'll still have plenty of space for loot. So after you loot Ollie, you're going to come up here. And we have another office here on our flank. But first, like before, you're going to look through this window. This guy had hopped up here on some boxes, I guess. I didn't know this was an angle, but now this is one to look for. And also just clear down the hallway here. And then once that seems clear, you're going to be peeking up here. And the whole reason we use this escalator is so that we don't have to run or walk through this area here. This is like the dead zone. This is a suicide area. This escalator here goes up to the tech store. You have more tech stores here. You have another tech store down this hall behind that wall. So any traveling through here, you're opening yourself to a million different angles. Teams can camp back here or in all sorts of other areas, and they'll basically just kill you when you try to loot this tech store or go up the hallway. So, I mean, really, I would only ever loot these if you got a suicide wish or you just have like a hatchet or a pistol, then go for it. Otherwise, you're just going to come up this and then quickly run back here. You can hop up here and here's one angle you can play. And you can just be that guy that kills the people looting tech store. Once you get bored of holding this angle, we're going to come back here into this hallway. We'll go ahead and swap to hollow. So in this hallway here, we obviously are going to have another office. And we also have this stair here. Now I'm going to go up these stairs and I'll show you another angle you can hold. Alright, so we're up at the top here. Sometimes you will have teams that will come through this route to go to the tech stores just because it's safer and you don't have to go up the escalators. So be mindful of that. But if you're the only one that comes up here, then you're going to have a nice angle on the tech store here that you can camp. So here's Techlight. This is the tech store with the best loot on Interchange, and you have a clear line of sight on it. So if you had something like a duo, you could have one person hang back here, watch the escalator, and hold the tech store while you push up and go loot. If you're solo though, you could just chill back here with the scope and try to get some headshots. The hard part though is even if you kill people, it's very hard to push up and loot that as a solo because you're gonna have a lot of people coming through there and also just a lot of angles exposed. Back into the steps, we have a weapon box here. Next to these steps, we have our next office, and the loot in here looks like this. So, not bad. A little bit of tech loot. Like I said before, though, it all adds up. Leaving the office, you go further down the hallway here, and you come out at the red grocery store here. The back of this store goes pretty deep, and behind that wall is like more shelving and like storage areas. So teams will travel along like the very back out there, and there is some loot. I would avoid going back there, and instead we're gonna hug the front here, and we have some loot on these shelves. You can find ammo here, and there's also a weapon box here. Once you get closer up to the front of this store, there's scavs that right there. Yep. We're gonna put our scope on. We got the scope on now, and we can just get a clean headshot off. Okay, so we came out here. The goal is to get to the opposite end behind the tent. At the very other end, you have another door exactly like this with more offices. So that's where we're trying to get to. The best way to get there, I have found, is just to move near the front. I wouldn't travel through the back just because you meet players there more commonly. Here we have lockers with like chains and things of that nature. I didn't find any chains here, but sometimes you will. Push up to the front here. And here we're going to switch back to our hollow because we're going to be close range, moving fast now. So I listened for a sec, made sure it was somewhat clear. I don't hear anybody, so we're going to go ahead and move now. Going to hard W key this area here. Careful of scavs and players around here. And just be ready to full auto them if you see anybody. But for the most part, we're just going to be sprinting. As you run through here, I forgot to mention, I'm in a different raid right now, but you have this door here in a bathroom, and this is a side hallway, which actually gives you an angle to the main hallways here of the mall. You also have mini stores out here with loot, which I don't actually go to as a solo usually because you open yourself to too many angles. But this is an important route to keep in mind, and you do have nice angles here if you wanted to hold here. And you can also see down the hallway here. You can hold this angle. And you have this store here that you can go to the back of. And there's just some good angles you could hold here if you wanted to play kind of defensively and set up angles as a solo player. There's tech items in this store here that you could keep an eye on. This is a really high trafficked area though of the mall, so you should definitely expect teams coming through here. Alright, so we made it to the next office here. And the loot in here looks like something like this. I got a little unlucky here, only got 3 small tech items. There are DVDs and hard drives, but I skipped those just because they're a bit too bulky. At the back end of this office, you have another staircase, which will take you up and give you another angle you can hold, which I'll show you now. Moving through the hallways, don't expect it to be clear. Always, check your angles. Alright, once you made it up here, we're going to switch back to scope. And if you hop up here, you've got a clean angle all the way down here. Players are going to come up the escalator here, and they'll move left towards Techlight. Sometimes you have players coming the opposite direction going down the escalator, so watch for that. Up here you also have a weapon box here, and there's one right there as well. All right, let's head back downstairs. Down the steps we have a door here, and we're going further down the hallway, and we have another angle to check here. Down this angle you have an escalator. The people are going to move up here. You can hold this. You also have people passing through this hallway towards the center of the mall, so you can watch for that. And I'll actually go ahead and play a clip from yesterday where I peeked this angle and I ended up seeing people, and I'll show you how that went. Huh. Okay. I just whiffed. I think he's dead. Yep. Oh, so there's a third. Oh, I killed that guy too. So yeah, I did end up netting myself 3 kills there. The only issue is the bodies were pretty hard to loot out in this area because you don't have much cover and you open yourself to a lot of angles. So definitely got to be careful if you do end up killing people in these spots. Now from here, you've traveled through quite a bit of the mall and you probably have a lot of loot. So there's 2 options you have here. You can either go down this escalator here and you can head towards Extract, either railway, or you can go back to Emercom. But basically you're just going to use the tunnels through the parking lot to navigate yourself to an Extract safely. The parking lot's fairly uncontested. You shouldn't have people camping down there or anything like that. I definitely say this is the safest way to Extract. If you want to keep looting or you have teammates or something like that that have room for more loot, then you're going to skip that escalator and we're going to head to Idea. This is the last store that we haven't checked out. Just hug the right here and we'll run back here. You want to avoid this area here because there's just too many angles. And then we're just going to run through the middle of this store across to the opposite end, and there'll be an office down there that we can check and loot. On the way there, you do have this yellow pillar thing, and there's a little bit of loot just scattered around that you can grab if you'd like. Alright, so moving further deeper, straight across to this office here. So this is the office building. Check your angles. You do have scavs that wander out front of you. If you see 2 doors open like this, you know it's been looted. Only 1 door will spawn open. These shelves have rares, check them. Shelves here also have rares, and there's 3 computers in here you can check. You'll often find GPUs and Tetrises here, but this has been already hit, so we're gonna move on. Like I was saying, you have scavs out front. There's the scav. Seems to be desyncing. There's multiple scavs out there. We're gonna head out the front here, and I'll show 1 loot spot, and then we're gonna head to Extract. There's 1 scav dead. Alright, so front of Idea is here. There was our office we looted. We're gonna head down the front steps. And the last place I'll check is gonna be here on the left. You need a medic key for this, or a pharmacy key. And in here you'll find a few little meds, but it seems like hardly anything this raid. I just got 1 little bottle. Alright, and that is going to conclude my safe route through the mall. If you're feeling greedy or you actually ended up spawning near Idea and you loot this first, then obviously that office will have loot. And you also have a power station on the corner of the map in this direction. If we come out here, we might be able to see it actually. Down this road, you have the power station. And if you're not familiar with that, if you spawn near it, you could definitely loot it. There's a little office that's pretty easy to loot. Just check the shelves and the computers. If you don't spawn there, I wouldn't recommend going there just because the loot's probably already taken and people can camp the roof and just all over the place. And trying to push up to the power station, there's almost no cover. It's very easy to get camped. I've been sniped running to and from it too many times. I just don't think it's worth going to power station if you haven't spawned there. Of course, you can take the risk. There is an extract there that costs 3,000 rubles. There's a vehicle you can take. But trying to push up to the power station is kind of rolling the dice on your life. So you can make that call if you'd like. Otherwise, we're just going to head to the railway extract we have here. On the way to railway extract, you'll have a few stashes you can check. Especially on the left side, there's like 3 or 4. But I usually just check this one here if I come on the right side. And then make sure you have stamina for this part. Sprint across this road. And you probably know this map's kind of known for extract campers. I don't actually run into them too often myself, but it is a thing that can happen. Pause the video. Don't ever say what I just said. I totally jinxed myself. Not even 2 hours later, I had all this loot, and look what happened playing with my duo.
Good luck, kid. I'll go clear the exit camper for you.
Kamikaze!
I'll tell you where he's camping. You can kill him.
Perfect.
I got him.
Oh,
there's actually a dude over there.
Where?
I threw a nade. He's in the corner by the tent, behind the tent. He's in the corner of the map.
Dead?
Yeah, I'm dead. I'm dead in front of the green truck. Oh my god, I threw a nade.
Sure he's by the tent?
Yeah. I threw a nade as a joke.
I
He's to the
died.
left. Yeah.
Where?
Oh, dude.
What do you mean behind the tent? He's way to the left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Behind
That's
the tent.
not behind the tent.
Straight.
Alright, so there's a decent little second run. Alright, so here's a lot of the stuff I came out with after those 2 split raids. Some of it also went into the junk box, and if you run this route a few times, your junk box is going to start to look like this too. I also ran this route like almost all day yesterday, so here's some of the loot I ended with after each run. A lot of the time you won't have much PvP encounters, so you'll just end up with all kinds of just like tech items, and especially when you go through Ollie, you have a bunch of gas tanks, and just one of the raids alone ended up netting me 1.5 mil after everything was sold. Alright, and with that, we're going to wrap up the video. It's dragged on for a bit longer than I would have hoped, but if you made it this far, I definitely would appreciate a like. Alright, that'll be in the video. I'm not sure why, but
Let's do it. Alright.